so, I guess. When we first met was just on the ride to Girls and Boys State, and
yeah,
cool.
It was a fun little bus ride. Then from there, we really didn't have a lot of the same things. We weren't around each other much after that.
It's the first time I ever actually hung out with her. It was in the spring or summer of 2017. Had some people out to my house to hang out, and she was actually one that came out there.
It was just kind of a point that Seth and I were both just single at the same time, and we just kind of were hanging out that night.
Talking and stuff, and actually ended up going up into the attic of my house and exploring all the old stuff that was up there, and so that's kind of the first thing we kind of bonded on, I guess.
At the end of that summer, we were both just going in such different directions. I remember writing in my prayer journal about it and just why does this feel right yet it doesn't kind of thing. Seth feels like the right person, but it just doesn't feel like the right time. We just kind of talked it over and went our separate ways at the end of that summer.
But I guess flash forward to the spring of 2020, and that's kind of when we really started talking again, and would call her on the phone and talk for hours on end and kind of about the same stuff as before.
I think in the back of my head the whole time, I knew that if we started something, it would really be something serious. So I was just kind of nervous about it. During that time was always just as friends, but we're just friends, just friends, just friends. And he's oh my gosh. So then he had called me one night, and we were kind of talking about the summer that we dated before, and I wish I could remember exactly how it got brought up, but we were just having a conversation about that.
But she said something, and I just kind of shook my head, and she asked me what I was thinking, and I told her, "Girl, you don't want to know what I'm thinking." And she's like, "No, you got to tell me. I think I'm gonna marry you someday."
And I was you can't say that. We're just friends. You can't just tell me that.
That's just kind of how I felt about her, and I knew way early on that she was the one.
A couple weeks after that, I think he had called, and he's I'm gonna come down to Kansas and see you. And I was why? We're just friends. And he's no, we're not. And I was okay, come on down.
And I didn't know what the heck was gonna happen. Either she was gonna like me or hate me, or it was kind of the find out type of deal. And
we just had a really good weekend, and that's when I think it really solidified that, yeah, I kind of was interested in being more than friends with him.
The first time I told her that I loved her, we were at the Cambridge Lake over 4th of July. So we had hung out at the cabin all day and at the lake, and went down and we're hanging out, swimming in the middle of the night. We kind of went off by ourselves again, and we were sitting there talking, and just kind of blurted out, "I love you." And
he told me he loved me, and I said, I didn't say anything.
And she kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And
I know, I feel really bad for the amount of time I probably just stared at you.
Didn't really know what my next move was after that. But.
No, but I did finally say it back. I knew that I felt it too. I think I was just so caught off guard. I didn't expect it that soon.
It's leading up to the proposal, kind of waiting for the right time, and I was wanting to plan on the next Memorial weekend of 2021, the 1-year anniversary of our little trip down in Kansas. One Sunday I came to church with her and everything, and I think she had to go work out at the golf course after that, so she didn't stick around for very long. So Dan and I sat there for probably an hour just talking about everything, and finally we were running out of things to talk about, so I was well, one other thing I gotta ask you, and finally asked him to marry Brittany, and that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing out of the whole process, was getting his permission. Then I think the Friday is when I asked her to marry me.
We were supposed to meet his mom and his sister for supper in town, and he was well, there's cows out up at Patterson's, and so I was like, okay, like, well, let's go get that figured out.
So we drive up there and she doesn't have any idea what's going on.
And he's like just walking around, like just gawking around, talking about how great of a day it was and all this stuff. And I'm like, are we gonna get these cows in? Because your mom and sister are probably like waiting for us. And he's like, yeah. He was kind of being weird, like a little bit, just like talking so much, which is not really like him.
I didn't really know what to say, so I was like, well, this is where we can build our house someday and point in this direction and yada yada. And then I said, and the best part about the whole thing is this is where we can tell people we got engaged too. And got down and asked her, and I don't think she ever really said yes, but I think she thought it anyways. So.
I think again, I just stared at him for I don't know how long. Like, I don't know why I do that, but apparently that's how I react to things that I'm not expecting. But I was just like staring at him, and then I finally told him yes, and was like jumping up and down, and I was so excited. And I think I said, "Are you serious?" like 6 times.
She was very surprised. Yeah, I don't think she saw it coming. So after we got engaged, we went right into wedding planning and stuff, and we set a date for June 11th of 2022.
And I think we got like, just a couple months into being engaged, and we were like, man, like June is a long ways away. So we were like talking a lot about, okay, well, yeah, like it's okay, we need to just like enjoy this time, it's the only time we'll be engaged. And then one day Seth was kind of joking around, he's like, or we could just elope. And I was like, well, we could. And it just kind of sparked a conversation where we were like, well, yeah, I'm ready to marry you. And he said he was ready to marry me. And
we prayed about it a lot. It just came down to what we wanted to do, and we wanted to be married, and it was just the best thing for us. So we went ahead and did it.
All of our family was really so supportive on the deal that it was just an easy decision after that. We took these marriage classes with Jeremy before getting married, and actually both of our answers on like when we feel closest to God was like out in nature, and that was just like really special to be able then to go and get married outside in just such a beautiful place with just like the people that are closest with us and know us the best, I guess. So yeah, it was a really, really good day.
Really good day.
Best day ever. Married life has been really fun so far.
I still really haven't gotten used to it yet, I guess. It's kind of weird introducing her, saying my wife, and it's awesome. I look forward to kind of building a life and a family with her. And
it's just been so fun just getting to like live in the same house and like hang out with your best friend every single day. Sometimes just randomly we'll just be doing something completely normal at home, and I'm like, Seth, this is so cool that we just are like married and like live together, and we get to just spend our whole lives doing this.
I just love you a lot.
Thanks. I love you a lot too.
Thanks to everybody for coming and celebrating with us and supporting us through everything. And yeah, thankful for everybody.